In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We have this lesson about the occasions and source of sin. We have seen about sin, actual sin, mortal sin, venial sin. We have to speak also about the danger of sin. Occasion and sources of sin. A vice is a bad habit to do something, of course, wrong. And a bad habit is something that is easy to do. Meaning, when we have this vice, it is easy for us to sin. It's difficult to overcome a vice, and it's always a struggle when you have taken a bad habit. A vice is an important source of sin because of this strong habit that creates in us. And we can really become the slave of our passions, the slave of this vice, and we really suffer about it. We really suffer when we are the slave of these bad habits. Someone with a drunkard, someone who is under the vice of impurity, he has a very bad esteem of himself because he can see how bad he is inside. It's only the great grace of God with a strong will, a resolute will, that can help us to overcome a vice, eradicate it. This is one reason why we must be very careful to avoid sin, and even worse than sin, the habit of sin. Because when we are in this habit, it is so difficult to get out of it. Actually, it is exactly the goal of the devil. The plan of the devil is to make sure that we are taken in this web spider, we are taken in a position where it's difficult to go out. We are taken in an addiction that is difficult to break. Because now for the devil, it is a security for him that we are going to continue and to keep sinning because we have this addiction, difficult to break. Or we have these bad habits, difficult to live. Or we have put ourselves in a situation that is where it's difficult to go out, like cohabitation. You are in cohabitation, you have many children, and it's difficult to live this cohabitation. It's difficult maybe to get married, and the devil is happy because he has found a way to keep us in occasion of sin. This is something else to sin, and it's something else to be addicted to sin, to have a habit of sin, to have a vice, or Now, what are these occasions of sin? A near occasion of sin are all persons, places, or things that may easily lead us into sin. Most common occasions are bad companies. A bad companion is someone who provokes or leads us into sin because of his example, because of the setup, because of the group, because of peer pressure. These bad companies are the first occasion of sin. This is why with children we always tell them, please choose your friends. And you as parents, the best thing you can do for your children is to give them good friends, or to give them at least this opportunity to get good friends. Because they will choose their friends themselves, of course. You cannot force them to choose their friends, mainly when they are teenagers. But you can choose the setup. You can choose the place where they are meeting youth. You can choose a good Catholic school. You can choose good activities. You can choose a good parish. Somewhere where your children are going to meet good people. And of course they will choose their friends among this one. And this is wisdom for parents to organize for your children to have good company. Because it is clear that you will always become like your friends. If your friends are good, you will become good. If your friends are bad, you will become bad. And that is the same for adults. Of course, let us be careful about our company. If we spend our life going in bars and nightclub and going with this kind of friends, of course we are not helping ourselves to be good. Let us choose our friends. You know, usually we say someone is the average of his 4 or 5 best friends. Because when we belong to a group, we always end up more or less being at the same level. Choose your friends. Choose your reference. We say that one rotten apple in a basket of good apples quickly rots the rest. The same is true of human beings. Sin is a contagious disease. If we do not wish to be infected, we must go far away from it. And protect yourself, protect your children. The Catechism is quoting some other dangerous places for being occasion of sin, like dancing, nightclub, these activities that are playing with our emotions and playing with bad emotions at night. This is a danger. Let us avoid these places. A safe rule to follow is never to go to any place where you will be ashamed to take your virtuous mother or sister. And you know that in Kenya today we have many dances that are not okay, that are not pure. And people are aware of that they have dances that were not okay. Because of our attitude, because of what we want to show from our person. Do we want to show the spiritual side, or do we want to show something that is less spiritual in our body? Let us be careful. Everything has a meaning. Every attitude has a meaning. What do you want to promote in your person? Which kind of beauty do you want to show? And mainly about how you dress and what you express during this, during your attitude, in your attitude. So many women actually are the victim of the bad desires of men, and they are playing with that. They want to be looked at, they want to look nice and to attract attention of men, and they play with their body, and they despise themselves, you know. They use their body to attract attention and love. But it's not okay. It's not our glory is not there. It's good to look at the forms of a cow if you want to buy it for meat, you know, but not a human being. A human being is not for flesh. Don't accept this kind of sight on yourself, and don't play with that. Of course, alcohol, bars, all these places where we can lose our self-control easily. We are intoxicated, we drink too much, we don't control ourselves well, we can end up doing something wrong. We put ourselves in occasion of sins. Let us stay far of that. Bad literature, newspaper, magazine, websites, social media, all these sorts of obscene pictures are, of course, a danger for our purity. We have this duty to control that for us and for our children and for our family. We have to provide good content. We have to provide good magazine, good literature, good movies, good books, good games. Because, of course, there is a need for these things. If we don't provide something good, we'll end up looking maybe for bad things. Okay. Let us be careful about it. Let us stay far of the danger and organize our life. About occasion of sins, it is just about planning. Usually we are not bad. We don't want bad things to happen. But we don't plan. We don't plan for what will happen. And we just let laziness, idleness, guide our life, and now we have nothing to do, we take our phone, we spend time on YouTube, social media, we are meeting bad videos, and we end up watching them. Just idleness. Let us plan our life to be busy with good things. Let us have good plans. Let us have many good plans, actually. Let us be busy with work, busy with family, busy with good plans. Because we don't plan to fail. And you know what we say, if you fail to plan, you will end up planning to fail. Because if you have not organized things properly, they will still happen, but now without good planning. For people who are maybe courting, it's good to court, it's normal, it's a good thing. But let us organize how you will do it. Where are you going to meet? Because if you plan to meet in a safe and public space, you will be protected against occasion of sin. If now you don't plan and you just find yourself somewhere, maybe you can be in danger of sin, just because of poor planning. Maybe you had no bad intention. Maybe you wanted even to avoid sin. But because of poor planning, you have found yourself in occasion of sin, just because of poor planning. Let us plan. Let us plan a good plan. We say that in UK, in London, many ladies end up raped. How? They go for an activity at night somewhere, a party. Maybe the party is good, they have planned to go there, but they have not planned how they will come back. And now it has ended, they are tired, they have to go back home, they call a cab, or they go with someone they even don't know, and they end up raped by a taxi driver, by an Uber driver, by someone they didn't know, and they came back with, and it's ending badly because of no planning. But if they could have planned before, they could have said, okay, let me go for this party somewhere and let me organize a safe way back home. You know, because of this lack of planning, we end up in a bad setup, in a dangerous setup. If we could plan, if we could have a timetable, if we could organize our life, we would organize a good life. I am sure you will not organize for sin. You will not organize for bad things to happen. But you will organize for you and for your children good activities and something that is not dangerous for our spiritual life. Let us plan. Let us organize good things to happen. Let us organize to be busy. Of course, if you let your teenagers or the youth who have finished high school, or if during the holidays you just let them at home with no activities to do, they will end up, of course, on social media, YouTube, TV, and they are tempted. And they will end up sinning in your home because of poor planning. You have not organized for them good activity. So many times I have told this kind of youth, They are 19 years old, they have finished high school, they are at home for 1 year doing nothing. How are you doing nothing? It's better for you even to go in the street and help a fundi for free than to do nothing. Because if you help a fundi for free, you learn something. You learn a skill, and you become someone. But if you stay at home watching TV, you become a carpet, You become nothing. And you just put yourself in occasion of laziness. And the parents have a role to play, of course, for that. To organize, to find a job, and even if it's for free, it's better than to be idle. It's better to help in a restaurant for free than to be idle at home. And the parents should have this conviction. It's better for my children to serve for free in the church, to serve for free in a hotel, in a restaurant, or I don't know where, to do something even for free than to be idle. Because the Bible is telling us, and it's true, idleness is a source of sin. Let us organize things to happen well. If you don't organize, something will happen, but of course it will be random, it will be risky, and it will fail. It will fail. It will be an occasion of sin. Actually, the Catechism is speaking about many groups of Catholics who have tried to fight this danger in the society. And of course we should do the same. Maybe it could be your initiative in Kenya to do something about these indecent pictures and shows. They say that, okay, today many moving pictures and theatrical shows are not decent, dangerous. We must be careful to choose only the good. And now they speak about this National Legion of Decency, a group of Catholics picking up good movies. This legion, working under the hierarchy, each week issues a list giving the moral evaluation of current films. And these things are existing today. We can consult, we can ask, we can look for good things. But not switch on the TV and let your children. Because of course, you are not choosing. And now you corrupt them in your house because of poor planning. When there is a way to plan for good things. And they say the Legion of Decency was formed in order to unite the laity with the hierarchy in a persistent drive to prevent the showing of lewd pictures. If every decent person kept away from such obscene shows, the producers will surely make better pictures. We have to fight. And you have to fight for your children. You have to keep your household free of sin and occasion of sin. How should we act towards occasions of sin? We should never seek and always try to avoid occasions of sin. It is wrong voluntarily to seek the occasion of sin. He that loves danger shall perish in it. However, you can be exposed to sin unwillingly. Because of your profession, you have to be exposed to sin. And actually, some professions are exposing us to sin. But with the grace of God, if it's still reasonable to do this profession, of course, if you are deeply a thief, maybe avoid some occasion of sins, you know. Some profession where you are giving money to handle. Because if you know that you have a weakness there, don't handle money. Try to do something else. If you have this inclination for perversity and obscenity and impurity, maybe avoid some kind of work where you can be exposed to be in contact with other people at the wrong place. Of course, but if because of your work you are meeting some danger, just pray to overcome them. God will protect us against what we call this necessary occasion of sins that we are meeting in our daily life, and we just have to meet them. But we must avoid occasions of sin that are not a necessity. You cannot expose yourself to an occasion of sin just willingly, saying, oh, we will see what will happen. As soon as you watch a movie and you see a bad scene starting, you switch off. You cannot continue to expose yourself to this occasion of sin. Because you look at a bad picture, and now it's giving you bad desires, of course. As soon as you see that something is not clean, you stop it. You cannot continue to watch something that is an occasion of sin. It is actually a mortal sin to put yourself in an occasion of sin. You are a drunkard. You know that you cannot control you with alcohol. If you choose willingly to enter in a bar, it's already a mortal sin for you. Because you know that you will end up drunk. No, I will enter the bar, but I will only drink water. It's not reasonable. You know yourself. You will never do it. You will have always a good friend to give you something else. This is why if you enter there, you have already committed a mortal sin before to be drunk. Because you have accepted the danger of sin, you have accepted to fall down in this danger. This is why we don't have only to avoid sin, but we have also to avoid the occasion of sin, that we can avoid. This is why we have to avoid bad companies, bad places. And it can be, yes, already a mortal sin to go somewhere in a dangerous place. For some people, if they are addicted to pornography, they cannot handle it properly. Or it is an occasion of sin to be alone with internet. And maybe you should say, for me, internet is good, but only in a public space. Because if I am alone with internet, I am always ending watching bad things. For me, internet has become an occasion of sin. But in a public space, I am safe. Let me use internet only in a public space. What are the chief sources of actual sin? The chief sources of actual sin are pride, covetousness, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, and sloth. And these are commonly called capital sins. They are called capital sins. Capital from the Latin caput, which means head, because they are the head of or sources of all sins. Thus, they originate sins of luxury, gossip, excessive ambition, etc. They are called capital sins not because they are the great sins in themselves, but because they are the chief reasons why men commit sin. They are the origin of every sin. All other sins arising from them as from their fountainhead. These sins are termed deadly because they are either mortal of their own nature or may easily become mortal. They may be mortal or venial according as the matter is serious or less serious. These capital sins are the source of many other sins, and when you go for confession, it's good to understand why you are committing all these sins. Mainly, I just take an example. You go for confession and you just accuse yourself of so many gossips. Oh, I am always gossiping. Okay? But why are you gossiping? How do you have so much time to speak? You know? Maybe you should work. You know? Maybe you are just lazy and idle. And now sloth, laziness, is the reason why you commit all these sins. If you try to understand why, it's because you are doing nothing in your life and you are just speaking. If you were working, you will not have all this time to speak. You understand what is a capital sin? A capital sin is something that will lead you to many other sins because of that. Or you complain that you have lost your job and now you have many problems. Okay, why have you lost your job? Because you are proud and arrogant and you cannot keep a job because it's always clashing with someone, and now you end up you losing your position, using your job. Why? Because you are proud. And now you are jobless, and now you are stealing because you need money. But maybe the cause of that is your pride. Your pride that is leading you to many other things. You have become a liar, you are cheating, you are stealing, just because you cannot control your pride. These capital sins, all of them, they are the source of many other bad actions in our life. And they are what we call a vice. A vice is we have developed these bad habits and now this bad habit is the source of many sins and easy sins, because it's easy to do what is a habit. If you are a good gossiper, you gossip easily, full time. And it is a vice. Of course, maybe it could be very difficult for you to kill someone, because you are not used to, okay? You are not a criminal. It's difficult because you don't have a bad habit. And you are not tempted to kill someone. You know, but we are tempted to do something that is easy for us. This is a vice. Something you have got used to. To lie, even to steal. Some people have been just used to steal, and they even don't see the problem, and they steal very easily. They can just put things in their pockets, and it has become a vice. These things are called vices because they produce permanent disorders in the soul. They are the 7 fatal diseases of the soul which end in death. He who will be a friend of God must divert himself from these vices. Before we can plant the beautiful garden of virtues, we must root up the thorns and weeds growing out of these deadly sins. Gluttony, and a part of gluttony is to drink alcohol, has led so many families to disasters, because the man who has become a drunkard becomes poor, he is losing his job, he is ruining his family, he is losing his own, he cannot be respected anymore, losing his friends, losing good relationship, just because of gluttony. This is why, you know, a bad habit can have so many bad consequences. Does God punish sin? Yes, God punishes sin, partly in this life, but chiefly after death. In this life, sinners suffer from remorse of conscience, fear, and unhappiness. Their sin often brings upon them disease or death. The hatred and scorn of their fellow men and other temporal punishments. Even on earth, the wages of sin is death. And you can see in Karangoare, many young people are killed by police because they are already thieves. This is the consequence of sin, is death or jail. The punishment of the sinner is fully meted out to him only after death. Then the unrepentant sinner is punished in hell. Justice is not always done in this world, where the wicked often prosper and the just are made to suffer. On earth, God rewards the sinner for whatever good he may do. It is only in the next life that the evil he does is given his full and just punishment. Yes, don't envy the sinners because they have a happy life. Not everybody is totally bad. These sinners, maybe they do many good things, and God has to reward them in this life, because they will go to hell. And now, because of the good things they have done in this life, they must enjoy something in this life, God is just. He will give them some good things in this life. Maybe a good job. But because they are sinners, they don't respect the commandment of God, they will go to hell. Don't envy someone who looks maybe more successful than you. For us Catholics, we know that the true blessing is not money and business. The true blessing is the cross of Christ. When God loves someone, He gives him to share His cross. And cross is not a curse. Cross is a blessing. If you have to suffer in your life, and if you don't understand, you say, okay, I try to be a good Catholic, to do the will of God, to be as saint as possible, to avoid all kind of sin, but still I have lost my job. It's maybe just a cross you have to share. It's not a curse of God. It does not have this Protestant mentality to think that money is a blessing of God. No, money is not a blessing of God. The blessing of God, and even when the priest is blessing you, the priest is blessing you with the sign of the cross, not with money. And this is the blessing in the Catholic Church. It is the cross of Christ, and to share closely the life of Jesus, and to follow Him closely, even in this way of the cross. This is a true blessing. But if you see a sinner who is happy in this life, it's just maybe because he will go to hell, and he has to be rewarded for the good things he has done, but in this life only. Okay, let us have a right judgment about these things. Let us not discourage because bad people are getting good things. It's not a blessing of God. Maybe it's even a sign of damnation. Now, let us be careful about that and not discourage or even leave faith because you are not getting a business. Jesus has not died to give you a good business, but to open for you the gates of heaven.